Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast. And today I'm going to go over some news and rumors specifically about Monday Night Raw. Now, if you guys were here for my Monday Night Raw review, I watched the entire show from the beginning to the end like I do every single week for you guys, and I give you guys my review, my opinion of the show. So, when I watched Raw, we got to CM Punk literally getting his ass kicked by the Vision. The credits started rolling. You saw Paul Levesque's name and all the executive producers, everything else like that, like they do every single Monday Night Raw. So I figured the show was over. So I turned the show off. I didn't think anything of it. I saw the Vision like we do every single week on Monday Night Raw. I didn't think anything of it. I thought the Vision was sending a message to CM Punk because now CM Punk is the new number one contender to Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship. That's not the case. I had abundance of friends hit me up and say, yo, did you watch the end of the Monday Night Raw? And I said, yeah, why? He said, did you actually watch the ending? I said, yeah. And I didn't see actually 100% what happened at the end, where Braun Breaker literally turned his back on Seth Rollins and hit a spear, leaving Seth Rollins helpless in the middle of the ring. Now, after this happened, man, this got a lot of people talking. A lot of people talking. What's going on with the Vision? What's going on with Seth Rollins? Why did Braun Breaker do what he did against Seth Rollins by hitting the spear on Rollins in the middle of the ring? There's a lot of questions going into this, and a lot of questions that people still don't have any answers to at the current moment, myself included. But what I gathered was this. There was news that had came out that the matchup that Seth Rollins had at Crown Jewel against Cody Rhodes for the Men's Crown Jewel Championship, if there was a spot in that match where Seth Rollins was doing a coast-to-coast, pretty much headbutt, if you will, with Cody Rhodes being stuck in the Tree of Woe. So when Seth Rollins jumped from the other side of the turnbuckle and jumped and hit the headbutt, Rollins landed on his shoulder pretty badly. Nobody really thought much of it, only because the spot was quick, and usually he finished the match. But after the match took place and after Crown Jewel pretty much went off the air, there was news and rumors going around that Seth Rollins, after that match, was walking around Perth and walking around backstage with his arm in a sling. And there was even pictures taken of Rollins walking around Perth with his arm in a sling from the matchup that he had with Cody Rhodes. So then we get to Monday Night Raw. We have the segment of the Vision. Seth Rollins is praising Paul Heyman. He's praising Braun Breaker. He's praising Bronson Reed. Rollins pretty much saying that he wouldn't be the man he is today without Paul Heyman. They even had a backstage segment with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. And Rollins was praising Paul Heyman. And that the fact that Rollins said there's something big in the future for the Vision. And then we get to the main event, the triple threat match between Punk, LA Knight, and Jey Uso for the new number one contender for Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship, where Punk was successful in becoming the new number one contender to Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship. And then we see the Vision come out and pretty much beat the shit out of CM Punk. But then to the right corner, to the top of the right turnbuckle, we see Breaker walking around, looking ominous, if you will, looking confused, looking pissed off. And all of a sudden, he turns around and just decimates Seth Rollins with a spear in the middle of the ring. Paul Heyman's looking at Braun Breaker like, what the hell are you doing? Reed looks confused. Heyman looks confused. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And Breaker had no problem just decimating Seth Rollins in the middle of the ring. And then we see Breaker approach Paul Heyman and say, well, you need to choose a side. You're either with me or against me. And then Paul Heyman, just like Bronson Reed, they join Braun Breaker. So this has got a lot of people talking, bro. A lot of people talking. Is this something where Seth Rollins is legitimately injured? My thing is, if we're looking at it from the injurer standpoint, there's a lot of questions with that as well. And there's going to be people out there, and myself included, that are going to be wondering if this is some kind of work. Considering what we saw, I believe it was in August of this year, when Seth Rollins pretty much pulled the rug underneath everybody's feet and came back and cost CM Punk his match. Where he came out in crutches, then he dropped the crutches, and he rushed the ring. So we saw that. So we don't know if if this is going to be a work or not. If I had to honestly assume anything, I don't know. I don't know if this is a work, man. I don't know if he's legitimately injured. The other thing I would say, though, on the same side of the coin, is if in fact Rollins was injured, why did they put Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins in that spot where Breaker hit a spear on Rollins in the middle of the ring to ultimately pretty much take Rollins out of the Vision? Now, There's multiple ways to look at this. Number one, is the vision going to continue without the likes of a Seth Rollins? To be honest, could it continue with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed? Absolutely. You want to add some names to that list to join the vision, like the names of like maybe, I don't know, Austin Theory, Ethan Page. I know there's been rumors and speculation of Ricky Starks, even though I think he's the current NXT World Heavyweight Champion. They could continue this stable. And I know Paul Levesque, a.k.a. Triple H, has a thing for stables. If you look at the Judgment Day, you look at the Wyatt Six, there's other stables within WWE right now that are still going till this day. So I don't know if they're going to just cancel the vision. I have no idea. But what I do know is this. If we're looking at on paper right now, and Braun Breaker is, I guess, the leader of this vision, it's going to be very telling to see where this goes with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, I mean, you want to talk about a guy that you're going to watch whatever the hell Paul Heyman does in WWE, because he's got a mind for the business. We also know that Brock Lesnar has returned to WWE. We have not seen Lesnar since WrestlePalooza. But we know that there is some kind of business there between Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, also due to the fact that Paul Heyman introduced Brock Lesnar in his match against Cena at WrestlePalooza. But we haven't seen Lesnar since then. And with Rollins saying that there's something big on the horizon, is it going to be Brock Lesnar joining Paul Heyman with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed? Now that will be a stable that's a force to be reckoned with, to be honest. Do I think, is this something where Seth Rollins needed to stay in the vision? No. I think this was something that they pushed the narrative to have Rollins with Paul Heyman. I don't think Rollins needs Heyman, and I don't think Heyman needs Rollins. I just don't. This was, when they made this stable with the vision, it was almost like a Bloodline 2.0, just due to the fact that we had Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. And it's not the same. It didn't feel organic. It felt like it was rushed, to be honest, this vision stable. Where if you look at what Paul did with the Bloodline, it's legit. It's organic. You know what I mean? It was like a family atmosphere with Heyman aligning himself up with Roman Reigns. It's not the same with Seth Rollins. The other issue that I have with this is because the vision is a heel stable, are we bringing Seth Rollins back as a babyface? Because if that's the case, I'm not with it. I'm not. I think Seth Rollins, for me personally, will always be a better heel than he is a babyface. Hands down. The other thing, too, that I think people are overlooking is the fact that CM Punk is the new number one contender to Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship. Now, I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know if Seth Rollins is legitimately injured and he's going to have to vacate the World Heavyweight Championship. And we get a number one contenders match maybe against CM Punk and maybe LA Knight to figure out who's the real new champion if Rollins does have to actually relinquish the title. And that's going to be very telling in the next couple of weeks for Monday Night Raw, specifically next week, if Rollins is legitimately injured. So I don't know if he's trying to pull another ruse on CM Punk, because, I mean, he's made it abundantly clear that he's going to make CM Punk's life a living hell and he will never be World Heavyweight Champion. And Rollins made that abundantly clear to him before he got speared and decimated by Braun Breaker in the middle of the ring when they were beating the shit out of CM Punk. So, I don't know. What I'll say is this. If this is going to be another work or another ruse, not for nothing, man, I think it's a day late and a dollar short, to be honest with you. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we got this shit in August, if I'm not mistaken. And if Rollins does this shit again, I don't know if it's going to have the same reaction to the fans than what we got the first time when he pulled the rug underneath CM Punk's feet, to be honest. And to be honest with you, the other question would be, too, is what's next for Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman, as well as Bronson Reed. Is Brock Lesnar going to align himself up with Paul Heyman? And like I said, man, this has got a lot of people talking. A lot of people talking. It was a hell of an ending to Monday Night Raw. We don't know if Rollins is going to have to take some time off. I know he said that they was going in for testing in a couple weeks to check out his arm to see what's going on. We don't know. But this is also going to possibly throw a curveball into this year's War Games, where there might be a chance, bro, that Division's not even a part of this year's War Games. And I thought, and I'll be the first one to say it, I thought War Games this year was going to be great with how it was starting to line up and how the stories were starting to play out. But it might not be the case where we might not see Division in the War Games this year. There might not be no Vision at all anymore after what happened with Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. We don't know. We have no idea. I mean, look at what Roman Reigns said to the Usos. The next time I want to see you guys is going to be in December, knowing that we have Survivor Series War Games in November. I think it's November 29th, if I'm not mistaken. Late November. So is Roman not going to be a part of this year's War Games or Survivor Series for that matter? So I don't know. This was something, and again, this was also news that came out that this was planned to happen with Braun Breaker, but it wasn't supposed to be scheduled until next year, sometime next year in 2026. So my thing is why they pulled the plug on this so fast with Division. Why? Was there legit heat here between Breaker and Seth Rollins? Was there something where WWE said, you know what, this shit's not working out, we need a change? And they pulled the plug on Division, and we saw what happened with Division with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker on Monday Night Raw. It's very telling to see where this is going to play out and where this is going to go, to be honest with you. I'm not going to sit here and say that this will work, but I don't know if he's legitimately injured as well. I don't know. Only because of what he pulled the last time, where he pulled a ruse on everybody. And it was great, but if that's the route we're going again this time, I mean, I feel like it's a day late and a dollar short, man. I just don't think we need it, to be honest with you. And it opens up a lot more questions for a lot of other things that are going on. Survivor Series, is CM Punk going to be facing Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship? Is Rollins going to have to relinquish the World Heavyweight title due to injury? We have no fucking idea. We have no idea. Now, like I said before, could Division continue? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you have Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and you got Paul Heyman at the forefront of that as the spokesperson for both those guys, yeah. I mean, everybody's going to be in line and in tune on what Paul Heyman's doing, because Paul Heyman has been a part of the most serious storylines and some of the best storylines in all of WWE. Specifically, I would say in the last 5 years. Easily. So you're going to want to know what Paul Heyman's doing. You're also going to know what Lesnar's doing. We haven't seen Lesnar since WrestlePalooza. Is this something where it's going to be Paul Heyman, Lesnar, Breaker, and Bronson Reed as the vision for WWE? And that's the case. I don't know, man. I don't know. And I don't know how this is going to play out, because at the end of the day, seeing a Seth Rollins turn babyface with CM Punk being the new number one contender for the World Heavyweight title, I don't know how that's going to work, considering the heat that both these guys have. And the fact that Rollins has made it abundantly clear that he's going to make CM Punk's life in WWE while he's there a living hell, telling Punk that he will never be World Heavyweight Champion. How's that going to play out now after Braun Breaker spearing Rollins in the middle of the ring, leaving him helpless in the middle of the ring? So where does Division go from here? And where does Seth Rollins go from here? That's the biggest question. And like I said, is he legitimately hurt? We don't know. If he was hurt, I don't think WWE would put him in that spot where Braun Breaker would spear the living piss out of him in the middle of the ring, if he was that legitimately hurt. All we know is that he was walking around backstage with a sling in his arm, and that he's going for testing, supposedly, to check out his arm. We have no idea. This could be one big-ass ruse, to be honest with you. Am I agreeing with it if it's a ruse? No, I'm not. I think they pulled the plug on this Vision shit way too quickly, to be honest. It was the best thing going on Monday Night Raw. I know some people were like, man, I'm getting tired of seeing the Vision. Bro, what else was going on Monday Night Raw? Honestly. To be honest. Not much. Not much. You know, I think right now, the way it's looking, because of what happened with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker in the Vision, we might see the MFTs versus the Wyatt Six at this year's War Games instead of the Vision, and the way that's shaping up. So I don't know. To me, I thought this year's War Game was going to be incredible with the likes of Roman Reigns, maybe the Vision, Cody Rhodes. I don't think none of that shit's going to happen right now. I mean, I could be wrong, but the way it's looking right now on paper, it's not looking good. It's not. Do I want to see the Wyatt Six and the MFTs in a War Games matchup? Not really, man. Not really. To be honest. I can care less, to be honest. But I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know what's going to be next for Rollins. I don't know if he's legitimately hurt or this is one big-ass work. I don't know what's going to be next for the Division. Is the Division going to continue with the likes of Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed? Are they going to bring in new names if they continue the Division? The names like Austin Theory. I know Ethan Page's name has been floating around. Ricky Starks. Brock Lesnar realigning himself up with Paul Heyman to join the Division. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to play out, to be honest. Would I be against the division went away? No, to be honest. But I mean, at the same time, too, then you would have to ask yourself, then what's next for Paul Heyman if there is no vision? Is he still going to align himself up with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker? Or is this something where we're going to see Paul Heyman on a more part-time basis and maybe realign himself up as a spokesperson for Brock Lesnar? You know what I mean? There was even some people saying that this was a ruse from CM Punk, and CM Punk is the one joining the division, kicking out Seth Rollins. I have no idea. You know, the thing with Seth Rollins, man, and here's the other thing, too. Rollins, I talked about this with the matchup with Cody Rhodes and how Rollins was a little jealous and pissed off with what was going on with WWE. You know, he wants to be the top guy. He wants to be the guy. I'm going to be honest, man, he's not the guy. And that's not me taking anything away from Seth Rollins. I think Rollins is great. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and for a while he was steering the ship, but is he one of the top guys for WWE right now? I can't sit here and say that he is. Right now, the number one guy in all of WWE, in my honest opinion, is Roman Reigns. He's the most popular guy in WWE. Followed by Cody Rhodes. I would put Seth Rollins number 3, but I mean, CM Punk is right there stepping on the neck of Seth Rollins as far as being in that third spot. To be honest. Unfortunately, in the era that Seth Rollins is in, it's just, I don't think he's going to be the top guy for WWE. I just don't. I put Roman and Rhodes as number 1, number 2. And it's damn close, to be honest. Damn close. Rollins is just, he's taking back fiddle, man, to be honest with you. And it's no disrespect. I think he's great. I think he's awesome. But the way the WWE is shaped today, and the amount of talent they have today, and the fact that, you know, we got Roman, who's immensely over. We got Cody Rhodes, who's like QB1 for WWE right now. CM Punk returned, and everybody loves CM Punk. Like I said, man, Punk is stepping on the neck as far as being in that third spot over Rollins. I think Punk's more over than Rollins, to be honest with you. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is something where it's a hard reset for Rollins, but I don't want to see Rollins return as a goddamn babyface. I just don't. It's the same way I feel about Randy Orton, man. Orton, to me, is always going to be that pissed off, egotistical heel. It just works for Orton, man. Orton being a babyface doesn't do shit for Orton. Orton's a heel, man. Orton, he's a legend killer. The Viper. You know, he needs to be a heel. And it's the same thing I feel about Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins needs to be a heel. I don't want to see a babyface Rollins return, man. I just don't. You know, some people need to turn heel. Some people just need to stay where the hell they're at. I mentioned the same thing about Bayley. Bayley needs a heel turn because the babyface Bayley shit's not working. Look what it did for Naomi. Naomi was a babyface throughout her entire career until she ended up leaving to start her family with Jimmy. But before she left to start a family with Jimmy, she was a heel. And one of the best female heels in the company. A former women's world heavyweight champion. And I think it revamped her career to a point where it got her an opportunity at the women's world title and she became a champion. So it does pan out for some people, but some people it does not. So I don't know how this is going to play out. To me, I think it's going to be a ruse in a way because CM Punk's a new number 1 contender. And Rollins, like I said, has made it abundantly clear that he's going to make Punk's life a living hell and that he will never be world heavyweight champion. But if that's the case and it is a ruse, then why do we see Braun Breaker hit a spear on Seth Rollins? And why is there rumors and speculation that Rollins was injured after the match he had with Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel, where he ended up injuring his shoulder in that matchup, and he was walking around Perth, Australia with a sling on his arm? You know what I mean? Now, credit, like I said, this was already rumored and scheduled for the Vision to break up going into next year. So why did we pull the plug so early? Why was this something where WWE said, you know what, we're gonna have Rollins walk? Did they write him off television because he's legitimately injured? I don't know. I really, this time I have no idea, man. A lot of people that I talked to are like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. A lot of people that I talked to were legitimately pissed off the Division seemingly came to an end, only being together for a few months. And it looks like seemingly it's come to an end after what Breaker did to Seth Rollins. Now, I'm not sitting here saying the Division's over, but I don't know where they go from here. I really don't. They can incorporate Brock Lesnar if they decide to do that. I know Paul Heyman has some history with Lesnar. I don't know. I mean, like I said, Seth Rollins said there's something big on the horizon for the Division. Is that Brock Lesnar? You know what I mean? Did he get casted out? Did Paul Heyman pull some strings behind closed doors and got him cast? Even though Heyman looked confused, Paul Heyman always has a plan B. Always. And forever always have a plan B. You know what I mean? Is Breakker going to be the new leader of the division? You know what I mean? And honestly, for what it's worth, with all due respect, I think Breakker is the future of this company. There was actually somebody who made a valid point too, and I took it under consideration. But again, it's hearsay. But do I think it's going to happen? No. Obafemi is looking to get on the main roster. There were some rumors and speculation that Obafemi might join the Vision, where it'd be Obafemi, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breakker as the Vision in WWE, and that's one way to incorporate Obafemi onto the main roster. Now, do I want to see that? Not really. I'd rather see Obafemi come over, especially over to SmackDown, and answer Sami Zayn's open challenge and beat Sami Zayn for the U.S. title and just decimate Sami Zayn. Because, unfortunately, Obafemi, SmackDown needs a top guy. They need a top name. Obafemi should go to SmackDown, in my opinion. But would I be completely... I mean, it would be a holy shit moment if Obafemi joined the likes of Bronson Reed and Braun Breakker. I don't know. But there's also been rumors of speculation that NXT is not quite done yet with Obafemi. Which I don't know why. There's nothing else left for that guy to do in NXT, to be honest. I don't see what else that he can do that would spark interest in Obafemi's NXT run after what he's already done. He's already been the top guy for that company. It's time to move him up. Ethan Page has also been rumored to get moved up. Are we going to see Ethan Page in division? Austin Theory. We haven't seen Austin Theory in quite some time. Is Theory on his way over to Monday Night Raw and joining the Vision? We don't know. We have no idea, man. I mean, this is going to be very telling. And honestly, and kudos to them, because now it's going to be must-see television for the next couple of weeks, specifically next Monday Night Raw, because people want to hear and figure out what the fuck is going on with the Vision. Is the Vision going to continue? Are they adding new names to the Vision? You know, before this whole shit happened with Rollins, I even told you guys that leading up to this year's War Games, you could see maybe Drew McIntyre join the Vision, or Austin Theory, who knows, Brock Lesnar, and make a serious War Games matchup, but I don't know if that's going to happen now. So, again, man, it's 50-50. But I wanted to break the news to you guys, man, because I was shocked that this happened. I mean, like I said, I watched Raw from the beginning to the end, and I guess I turned it off too quickly, I guess. Even though the credits were rolling, I thought the show was over, but I didn't know until after the show was over that Breakker attacked Rollins. And now it's got the whole wrestling world talking on the fact of what's next for Rollins and what's next for the Vision. And is Rollins actually this time legitimately injured? Did he sustain an injury in the matchup against Cody Rhodes at this year's Crown Jewel? I don't know, man. It's very telling. It's very telling. And now that CM Punk's a new number one contender, I mean, it also throws a curveball into the mix as well. Is Seth Rollins doing this to pull a ruse on everybody? Is Seth Rollins, again, trying to make CM Punk's life a living hell? We have no idea. We have no idea. Is he going to relinquish the title to Punk? We don't know. We have no idea. I think the next big PLE for WWE is, in fact, Survivor Series, if I'm not mistaken. So we still got some time for build leading up to Survivor Series. But I thought it was very interesting, very telling with what the hell was going on with Monday Night Raw. Definitely was a shock ending to a lot of people for Monday Night Raw, myself included. And I don't know. This one kind of stunned me, man, to be honest. I don't know where they're going with this. I mean, again, Rollins could be legitimately injured. Or this could be one big-ass work where he pulls, the rug underneath everybody's feet once again and shocks the world. I have no idea. But if that's the case and this is one big-ass work, I'm not with it, man. I'm just not. We've already seen it once already. It's going to get kind of stale doing it a second time. And I feel like if that's the case, it's forced. It's a forced agenda for Rollins to be that asshole heel, to be honest. You know what I mean? The reason why I feel like it's kind of different this time is because of what happened with Braun Breakker and Seth Rollins. And the fact that we saw him walking around with a sling backstage. Or the reports were out that he was walking around Perth, Australia with his arm in a sling. So, I don't know. Rollins has a great mind for the business as well as Paul Heyman. So, maybe they're cooking something up. I have no idea, but I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on that and my opinions on what happened with Braun Breakker and Seth Rollins, where seemingly it seems as if Seth Rollins is no longer a part of the Vision after what Braun Breakker did to Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. But with that being said, this is my news and rumors specifically about Monday Night Raw. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful.